Accounts and contacts. In this module, we are going to learn how to work with the accounts family. This family allows us to manage all the employees and the external users. So if we go to Structure, Families, Accounts, we can just add a name. Then we have the secure room. Okay, we will leave it open. This is to manage permissions. We are not going to learn about this now, okay? But if we leave it open, it means that we don't need special permissions that everybody can access. As you can see, we have accounts family, okay? And we have a form, a fields in record, etc. And then we have another column for contacts, okay? And again, we have forms, fields in record, etc. The accounts are the companies we work with, and contacts are the people from those companies we're in contact with, okay? Then we have fields in record. Allows us to see all the different fields we are using in this family, whether they're in the form or not, or in another, okay? From this option, we can define the data table for this family. We can add as many fields as we need. After this, we will place the fields in a form or another. Once the structure has been defined, the elements will be created, entering data in the fields. As always, the elements will be added from the family itself, not in a structure. We first define the fields in a structure, obviously, and then the users add the data. That is to say, they create the elements. We do not introduce the data into a table directly. Although the table could seem like a good option, it has some shortfalls. That is why to use a form is a much better option. What are the probabilities that a user makes some mistakes? Are easy to add and it's easy to read the data? Will the user know when all the information is needed or just some of it is required? We wouldn't be able to control all this if we were using a table. That is why to use a form is a much better option. We could add as many controls as we like to a form, and this way making sure that when an element is created, we have all the essential data we need. For that, we go to Forms, Create. We can create several forms and show the one we wish to, depending on the family class. That is to say, if I have the accounts family, I might have in it a suppliers class, a clients class, and a creditors class. In this case, I might want to have a form specially designed for the clients and a different one for the suppliers. Not only the design might differ, it might also add different fields to the form, okay? The reason for that is that I might need a different information from the clients and from the suppliers. Therefore, sometimes we might have different forms for different classes in the same family. Let's suppose that we want that when I open the accounts field classified as hotels, we can see the data in a specific form with lots of fields. And that when we open the accounts fields classified as motels, another specific form is shown with fewer fields. Here we can see several accounts that belong to different classes. For example, we have Vatican and Casanova that belong to the motel class, okay, and they have a specific form. And then we have Ritz, Holiday Inn, NHS hotels that belong to the hotel class, okay, and they have a different form. As you can see, an account can have n classes and a class can only have an associated form. Where do we associate a specific form to one or several account classes? For that, we will go into the form properties, where it says assign classes, okay? Then we can select, okay, one class, or we can even select all of them, okay? Let's go to the application now, and let's go to Structure to see how can we structure the accounts family. And then we're going to go into Forms, okay? And we can see that we have account form, account viewer, okay? So this means that if we don't associate a specific form, the system would automatically use the one checked as main, okay? So in this case, this is checked as main. So unless we state the opposite, the system will always use this form. If I click in here, okay, if I select this, I can see this is a division, okay, called name, and here I can see all the different fields that are part of it, okay. If I select another division, okay, location, again we will have here all the different fields that are used in this division, and the same if we select other, okay, we have different fields that are used there. To see all the fields being used in all the different divisions, we have to go back to fields in record, okay, and here we can see all the fields that have been used in all the different forms. Okay, some of these fields might be used in a form and some in others, okay. Now that we have seen the forms and fields in record, let's go to have a look at tree and classes. Okay, expand. Okay, here we can see that it's similar to when we were structuring the families, works in a similar way. Okay, we have the tree, and if we expand as we just done now, okay, we can see the branch and we can see 3 classes, in this case, general, suppliers, and clients. Therefore, if I wanted to add an account here, I will have to add it to one of these 3 classes, okay, and once the tree and the classes have been configured, I can do the same with the grid. Okay, save and exit. And let's go now to families of records, accounts, and create. If we click on proceed, okay, we can see that to create an account, we have to choose first one class, okay? So that is why it's very important to create at least one class before creating an account, because this is essential. Okay, here in accounts you can have some filters that we can add some more. We just can remove some of them if we're not interested, and this is the grid. Okay, where did we define all this? Well, to define all this, again we have to go to structure, okay, and in this case we will go to the grid configuration. Okay, here we have some options, display options, so elements when entering, if we want filters, if we want a header with all the information, the path, okay, the action buttons we want to have, etc. And if we go to filters and columns, okay, here I can choose the options that will appear as filters. We can choose which filter we want to have, okay. In this case, I'm happy to have commercial name, legal name, class, email, and ID, okay. And down here we have the columns, okay. I'm just gonna add one more. So if I click on add, okay, and find postal codes country, okay, accept selection, and it's here, okay, and then save. Okay, once we have saved it, save and exit, and if we go to families, accounts, okay, I can see that the column I just added is here already, okay, the country one. If I wanted to add this as a filter, again I'll do the same, okay, but in the top bit. As you can see, it's really straightforward and simple. Now we are going to go back to structure to see another option. Okay, in this case it's going to be fields with exclusive content. Okay, this option allows me to indicate which fields cannot be repeated. Okay, in this case I decided that it's going to be email. Okay, and what this means? It means that it won't be possible to have 2 accounts with the same email, that each account must have a different one, an exclusive one. Okay, we can have as many exclusive content as we want, okay, as many fields as we want. Okay, now let's learn a little bit about contacts. Okay, so if we go to, well, we are in a structure already, so if we go to contacts and we go to forms, okay, firstly let's have a look at the form as we have seen, we have a main one, okay? This general content record. And then we have a read-only form, okay? This is the one used for all the content records, okay? The one here selected as main, as we haven't created a specific one, okay? This is the default one with all the fields and division, okay? Here, there's a particularity, and instead of defining and monitoring the grid from a structure as in the rest of the cases, we can do it from here. So if I go here, I could add some columns, okay? Which is not normally the case in the rest. But what are these columns and grid for? So let's go back to families of records, accounts, and contacts, okay? We can see all the contacts here, okay, that we have in a company. We can see we have some filters, okay, and a grid. This grid cannot be modified, okay? It shows many elements, and for it to be optimal, okay, it has a fixed design, so we cannot change it, okay? If we wanted to create a contact, we could go directly to the account, okay, we're interested in, so supermarket, and go to contacts, okay? And here we could just create one or just add one of the ones we have. This grid is the one that we can customize, okay? This is the one that we can personalize, not the one we saw before, okay? We're gonna choose Lara, yeah, save and exit, and let's go, okay, save and exit. And if we go now to structure, accounts, contacts, form, general contact record, and we go to define columns as we went before, we're just gonna add one field, okay? Let's imagine we wanna add language, okay? So I accept selection, save and exit, and save and exit. So if I go now to families of records, accounts, supermarket, contact, okay, I can see now language column, okay, the column I just added. As I said before, this is the grid we can customize, okay, not this one. Okay, as we have mentioned before, we can create a contact just going directly to the account, okay, or just from here, okay? So we click here, we will just have to add a class and then create it from here, okay? Just add all the data and save. Remember that the contacts are created once they're in the right account, okay, or here, as I said. Let's go back to structure now, accounts, and let's see the other two options we haven't seen just yet, okay? We have already seen that from inside the form we can create the grids columns, and from properties also associate the form to assign classes, okay? The fields in record we saw before. And then we can see here that we can import contact and export contacts to Excel. We can import contacts from any database that has an ODBC connection. We have the possibility to export the contacts to an Excel spreadsheet. And that shall be all for this video. Now is your turn to do part 3.